It looks like we have a huge Anarchy in the Arena match planned for Double or Nothing. John Moxley's next challenger has seemingly become clear, and my Owen Hart Cup bracket is already gone out of the window. I'm Ben Allison, you're watching Allison Analysis, and here are my 5 key findings from last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. In at number 5, it looks like Anarchy in the Arena is going to be the Elite versus Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, and somebody else. First things first, I am hyped for this. This is inevitably going to be an absolute banger. But, secondly, does everybody in this feud have amnesia? Literally a year ago, the Elite suspended Hangman from the Elite. Then he returned and they gave him a place in the Owen Hart Cup, acting like he just suddenly forgave them. He didn't forgive them, and he turned on them and made it clear he is no longer part of the Elite. And now a year later, they are saying they took out Swerve Strickland for him? But before that, earlier in the show, John Moxley cut a promo talking about how frustrated he was that despite the fact the roster is more stacked than it has ever been, nobody is able to beat him. Yet Swerve had him beat until the Bucks got involved. And the Bucks literally stand for every little thing which John Moxley says in his promos that he is against. And they made it clear last night, there is no deal between the EVPs and the Death Riders. It was just like them, he's trying to get on the Death Riders' good side, but in reality, Moxley should be fuming about this and trying to give Swerve a rematch based on what he's saying. I mean, I'm done trying to make sense of this. I really am, because the more you look into this story, the less sense it makes. There is plot hole after plot hole. None of it adds up. The character development is quite frankly awful, and it annoys the hell out of me because, like I said, I am genuinely a huge fan of everybody involved in this story. I want to like it. At times, I'm wondering if I'm being too harsh on it, and then I try and go in positive to the segments like I did today, and it was just so bad. But listen, like I said, Anarchy in the Arena I'm sure is going to be fun, and I am excited for that from an in-ring standpoint. But this storyline, I mean, it's getting Game of Thrones final season level bad. In at number 4, I'm absolutely stunned Thunder Rosa is already out of the Owens Hart Cup. I mean, my bracket went out of the window faster than my March Madness bracket, and trust me, that's saying something. I thought Thunder Rosa was going to win this entire tournament. They were teasing, well, she was teasing that she had something big to do at All in Texas, and they'd been doing this storyline with Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm, so I presumed it was pretty obvious that this was going to be the direction they go in. And honestly, I thought Thunder Rosa deserved a big win. She did so much work for AEW, and let's face it, their women's division at the time was nowhere near as strong as it was now. So I just feel like Thunder Rosa now deserves her flowers. She deserves a big moment like at All in Texas. But hey, Chris Statlander beat her, and Statlander is undoubtedly worthy of advancing as well. You couldn't really go wrong no matter which one you picture, but it does lead to the question as to who's actually going to win this tournament now. I mean, I guess Jamie Hayter at this point has to become the immediate favourite, but I'm not even 100% certain about that one. The other thing I'm getting a little bit concerned about here is that they are really teasing a rematch between Harley Cameron and Mercedes Moné. And for that to happen, Harley Cameron would have to beat Athena. Now, I guess what they're doing is just trying to throw us off a little bit, which I have no issue with them doing at all. But surely they're going to do Athena versus Moné in the semi-finals, with then like Athena shocking Moné, and then at All In doing Athena versus Moné with Athena losing in the Owen Hart Cup before that. I don't know, but at least it's unpredictable, and it was a fun match last night. In at number 3, where did the $400,000 come from, and why are they fighting for it? Now, don't get me wrong, all companies have done this. All companies have been guilty of this. But it never, ever, ever makes any sense, and this is as nonsensical as they get. I mean, like I said, for the first issue, the first thing to acknowledge is where did this $400,000 come from? I mean, I guess Tony Khan's pocket. But then why were these 8 guys picked for this match? And why did this match have that money on the line? Now, if it was a sponsored match, this would make a little bit more sense, especially if you say the advertiser was the one to choose the 8 opponents, in which case I'd have a lot less of an issue with it. But I just don't really understand it. But hey, at least it was a fun match. It was an enjoyable match, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. It just was lazy. It didn't need the money on the line. But hey, now we need to see that Will Ospreay in Disneyland vlog, right? Because you teased that, so now give it to us. But before we go any further, if you guys could leave a like and subscribe and a comment on this video, that would be massively appreciated. Here at Wrestling Republic, we create between 5 to 10 free videos every single week, and in addition to that, we have a live daily stream every single day, 7 days per week at 8 PM UK, 3 PM Eastern, and 12 PM Pacific. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you. In at number 2, the Learning Tree storyline has genuinely helped to get Big Bill over. Now, this is a hot take. I know it's a hot take, but everybody says that Chris Jericho in AEW hasn't been getting anybody over. All the factions he's had, all the people who's worked with him, he's not gotten any of them over. And I will say in most cases that has been correct, but in this case, I don't agree. This Learning Tree gimmick has genuinely gotten Big Bill more over than he has been in arguably his entirety of his career. I mean, even in the segment last night, the crowd are cheering for Big Bill, they are chanting for Big Bill, and it's the same in almost any arena you go to. And now it does seem like Chris Jericho is going away for a little while, which, let's face it, I don't think many people are going to be complaining about. But I genuinely do think this is going to be good for Big Bill and Brian Keith, for them to be able to be on their own for a little while and see, if they can really get over without Chris Jericho, because I'm sure they can. I mean, long term, I would like to see them do Big Bill versus Chris Jericho. I'm not really sure where Brian Keith would fit into it all, but I really do want to see that match, and with Big Bill going over as well, because I do think the guy is just so underrated, and he has been through so much as well, so many challenges, which not many people talk about as well, those seizures which he was having a few years ago. So I do hope the future is still bright for Big Bill, and right now it does look promising. And in at number 1, I'm guessing it's going to be Jon Moxley versus Samoa Joe at Double or Nothing. Based on what happened last night, it looks like the immediate plan is to do the Ops versus the Death Riders for the Trios Championships, but after that, I do think we are going to be heading towards Moxley versus Joe, the AEW Championship at Double or Nothing, and I'm not against it. It's going to be a fun match. Yes, it is incredibly predictable, but when you do these big long-term storylines like this, there are going to need to be filler matches, and unfortunately, this is probably going to be one of them. There just isn't really a way to avoid that when doing long championship reigns. We've seen it this year with Cody Rhodes in WWE as well, and I do think they could have done a little bit of a better job there with certain storylines, making them feel a little bit more unpredictable. But in this case, we have had quite a few matches now where we've thought there's a chance Moxley could drop the title. So there being one against Joe where it's kind of predictable he won't, I'm okay with that. But part of me does actually want it to be Hawk who faces Jon Moxley instead of Samoa Joe. Hawk has just kind of been in the mid-card now for such a long time, and I do think he just needs that little bit of a push into the deep end. I don't think they're going to do it, especially on a pay-per-view, but I would really like to see it. But hey, overall, this episode of Dynamite was enjoyable. It was more of a promo-heavy episode than I think we're usually used to with AEW, but quite a few stories were advanced, even with a few plot holes. The in-ring action was mostly fun. I mean, Moxley and Shibata, I didn't hate it as much as most people did, but it was just a very safe match, apart from that stupid pile driver. But even still, I'd say the episode was decent. It was fine. Nothing special, nothing you need to go out of your way to check out, but it did answer a lot of questions coming out of Dynasty this past weekend. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I will be back on Saturday to talk a little bit of Friday Night SmackDown. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you for watching. Peace!